where gun culture meets the gospel. This is Armed Lutheran Radio.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Armed Lutheran Radio, a show about guns, hunting, competitive shooting, the natural right of self-defense, and what God's Word says about the issues surrounding gun rights and gun ownership. I'm your host, Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran, and this is episode number 353. Thank you so much for making Armed Lutheran Radio a part of your week this week. Joining us again this week for a video version of Clinging to God and Guns, the pistol-packing padre himself, Pastor John Bennett. Pastor, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, we've got an interesting show today that comes from something that you ran across. Of course, we're going to be talking about people not helping. We have a violent crime epidemic in this country. We have Democrats doing their usual thing, blaming it all on guns and using it as an excuse to push gun control. And we have lots of awesome people who are fighting to protect our Second Amendment rights. And then we have some guys like the person we're going to talk about today. But before we get to that, I do want to thank the members of the Reformation Gun Club who make all of this possible. Today's shout out goes out to Sam from Milton, Washington, David from Kennesaw, Georgia, Michael from Janesville, Minnesota, Scott from Sheridan, Wyoming, Paul from Sheridan, Wyoming. I got the Sheridan boys in here today. Matthew from Nixa, Missouri, Marc from St. Paul, Minnesota, George from Hammond, Louisiana, our old friend Dan Rushing from Indian Trail, North Carolina, and our newest member, Stephen from Spotsylvania, Virginia. Thank you all so much for your support. And for those of you who don't know what this Reformation Gun Club thing is all about, we are listener funded. We don't have any advertising. We don't have any sponsors. We rely on people like the people I just mentioned to help keep the lights on. If you would like to find out more, find out about all the benefits, come join us for our next online hangout in a couple of weeks and get some cool Armed Lutheran swag like the t-shirt I'm sporting today. Come visit armedlutheran.us/gun club or look for a link in the show notes for this or any of our previous episodes. Okay, as I kind of alluded to before, we've got awesome people out there who are fighting the good fight, trying to make a difference, making their voices heard in the gun rights debate. Our own Mia Anstein and our good friend Cheryl Todd from Gun Freedom Radio are part of the DC project. They're lobbying, face-to-face with members of Congress. You've got Florida Carry and our friend Sean Sorrentino at Grassroots North Carolina, Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, and our friend Paul Lathrop, people like Amanda Suffolkul and Charlie Cook and the Pew Pew Jew. The list goes on and on. If I didn't mention you, it doesn't mean that I don't love you. It's just that
it means that we don't want a 2-hour show.
Right. Well, there's tons.
It'll take us forever to list them all.
Right. But then you have guys like the guy we're going to talk about today. There's plenty for us to be outraged about in this country, especially when it comes to gun rights and the endless ways that government encroaches on our rights. We don't need to manufacture outrage, but there seems to be a never-ending demand for outrage, especially on social media, because outrage drives likes and follows, and
if you have a monetized account, it makes you money.
Exactly. And what we have here today, what we thought we would share with you and dissect for you today, is manufactured outrage. Pastor Bennett shared a video with me this week and thought it would be a good one for the show, and it is. So prepare to have some jimmies rustled, because we're going to give you a hot take on this mess. And
try and look at this objectively. When we criticize people on the Pro 2A side, it's because they're not being helpful. I mean,
yes.
Anti-gun legislation brings out the FUDs like pumpkin spice lattes bring out white girls in leggings.
Yes, exactly right. That's an analogy I did not see coming. So, all right. So let's see. Let me present this video. Share if I can find it. Where are you? Brave tab. Watch on Facebook. Yes. Here we go. Now, what we have, as you can see from the caption that is constantly on this video, is cop pulls his gun on man who was carrying his guns to his car after a fishing trip. Now, this takes place in Ormond Beach, Florida.
Fishing trip.
Well,
I think he was fishing for something else, but pay very close attention to the very first thing this cop asks the guy, because later on, this is going to be very important.
Yes, it absolutely is. So let me see if I can find my window again so I can actually push the button to start playing it. Where are you? I got 15 things going at the same time. That's not helpful. All right. Brave. Watch on Facebook. What does it go to? All right.
Well, just saw your cursor.
Oh, no. That I did not want. I want to make it large. Okay, here we go. So here we go with this interaction with Sergeant Doggett from the Ormond Beach Police Department. And let's see if I can get some audio.
Got a pistol permit?
No, sir.
No? Okay, I want you to set that thing down, real. I want the...
Now, notice the first thing the guy does, right? He asks him if he has a permit. And then when he says no, he asks him, I want you to set this thing down. Now, what you're going to see is what he wants him to set down. Now, this is their definition of the cop pulling his gun on the man. Notice that this gun never leaves his side.
Yeah. And anytime, a cop encounters somebody with a firearm and asks him if they have a permit and they say no, the assumption, unless you're in a constitutional carry state and, you go places in Arizona, and if you don't see somebody with a gun in there, think you're in the wrong neighborhood.
Right.
Right away, he doesn't point it at the guy, but if I was an officer in this situation, I would assume that this guy is up to no good because he's basically admitting that he's broken the law.
Right. He doesn't know anything about this guy, and we'll find out in a moment why we have this interaction, because the officer will inform us. I'm clicking the wrong thing.
Pull down.
Okay.
Put your hands up over your head.
Okay. I want to make it very clear. I do not consent to any searches or seizures of my property.
That's nice, but you're not moving until I get another unit.
That's fine. Understand.
Notice, and this I want to point out right up front too, notice how polite Officer Daggett is throughout this entire interaction. Now,
yes,
you read this headline, cop pulls his gun on man. It makes it sound like that this is some tyrant who is just hassling this poor citizen who's doing nothing, right?
When I saw the tagline, I was expecting a Daniel Shaver incident minus the, with a slightly different ending, because
Right.
Usually if somebody gets shot on camera, there's warnings.
Right.
Something else that just wanted to throw out there too that lends itself to this being an entire setup for a guy to get clicks on Facebook or whatever, is that there's a point where he asks if he can adjust his camera.
Yes. This is not filmed with a cell phone. He has to be wearing a GoPro or some sort of an action camera, because, as you said, he's going to ask if he can adjust it because it's uncomfortable or something like this. And the cop is like, nope, you are not moving your hands. And notice throughout the video, the camera moves. It appears following the man's where he looks, the camera moves.
Right.
Even once his hands later are handcuffed, the camera is panning as he's moving his head. So he's put a camera on his head, supposedly walking back to his car from a fishing trip. He has a GoPro on and what looked like a brand new fishing pole, and he's open carrying. And he's already told the police officer now, I don't consent to being searched. I don't, what was the other thing? And I don't have a permit.
Yes. I think the only thing that was missing from this video was the guy shouting, I'm a sovereign citizen, because that would have been kind of the cherry on top.
It would. All right, here we go.
And you do not have a pistol permit?
Not for open carry, no. I'm fishing and open carrying.
At this point, you're detained until I determine what's going on here. Do you understand that?
I understand.
All right.
Very calm.
Do you have identification on you or not?
I do. It's in my pocket.
All right. Don't go for it.
I'm not.
And that right there is why cop has his gun out.
Yes.
Right? Don't go for it. Don't make any sudden moves. I know you have a gun on you, so it's possible that you have other weapons.
Which he does.
Which he does. We'll find out in a moment.
He also mentions the term cocked and locked, so this has to be a FUD with a 1911.
He's my age, so it's probably a 1911.
Somebody called you in wearing the gun and suspicious.
Okay.
Suspicious, yeah.
There's what happened, right? Somebody called him in, said, hey, suspicious guy walking around with a gun. Look at the neighborhood, too. This is not, where is he fishing?
Yeah.
How far did he walk to fish?
What is that, City Hall or something?
That looks like City Hall or some municipal building. And you'll see as the camera pans, there's more of these kinds of buildings. And this is a busy street. This is not like out in the middle of nowhere next to some bog. He's in a residential area or in a fairly busy city, urban area, supposedly walking back to his car with a GoPro on his head and carrying a handgun, supposedly coming back from fish, unless he was fishing at maybe a pond at one of the nearby municipal buildings. I don't know where he was going.
In the flood control pond by the local shopping mall.
Right.
Well, I live in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, and I can guarantee you that just about every single place where people like to go fishing, there's parking that's right there. You're not having to walk, through an urban concrete jungle to get back to your vehicle.
Now, to put the best construction on everything, and I haven't looked at a map of Ormond Beach, so I suppose it's possible that he's walking from a pier. Possible. That's a possibility. I don't know the layout of Ormond Beach. I'm not sure where he is, so we'll leave that as a possibility.
If I'm completely bored at some point, I'm going to go on to Google Maps Street View and see if I can find this spot.
Yeah, you probably can from the look of those buildings. Those are so distinct. Okay. Obviously suspicious.
And we're going to go ahead and conduct the investigation as soon as another unit gets here. Okay?
Understood.
Again, super polite for a tyrant.
Are you with
I'm with the city of Ormond Beach.
Okay. Do you have a name and badge number?
Yes, I do. I'll give you my business card at the conclusion of this.
Okay. Can I go ahead and get your name and badge number? Would that be all right?
My badge number
14.
14.
Okay.
Sergeant Dogger.
Okay.
10 alphabets. We don't.
And that you will see at the end is the whole purpose of this. At the very end of this video, you'll see why he asked him for that info.
It's like he wants to ruin the guy's career.
1012 is signal 0.
Yeah, look at those buildings. Oh, I wish I could have seen what that sign was over on the left. that might
You
have
live in
given
the
us a
area?
better.
I'm not answering questions.
He's not answering questions.
Mm-hmm.
He is trying desperately to create a situation. So he's not going to be helpful, but the police are not going to bite either. As you'll notice, Sergeant Daggett is incredibly polite and very calm. And he's like, okay, you're not going to answer. Fine.
What type of weapon is it?
I'm not answering any questions, sir. I'll give you my name since I'm being detained. My name is Jeffrey Marcus Gray.
I'm sorry, Jeffrey Marcus Gray?
Yes, sir. Born January 8th, 1970. Other than that, I'm not answering any questions.
I'm not answering questions, but I'm going to tell you who I am and give you my date of birth. What? So is this actually resistance against tyrants, or is this just fishing for an incident that the cop doesn't seem to want to give him?
Right.
That's your constitutional right.
Okay.
That's your constitutional right. He's going to just be as nice as he can possibly be. Something Park.
Is your ID through the state of Florida?
Sir, I'm not answering any questions.
Well, that question is not subject to any criminal act.
Right.
That is just to identify.
I'm a resident of Florida.
Okay.
So the cop just schooled him on the Fifth Amendment.
Yep.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to self-incriminate under the Fifth Amendment.
Right.
But there is information that you'll have to provide me that has nothing to do with that.
I'm just gonna. Can I just adjust this camera strap because it's kind of pulling on my neck?
You don't take your hands off your head.
Okay. You do have your gun out of your holster?
Yes, I do. At my side.
Okay.
I'm not pointing it at you, but I have it at the low ready in case you were to do something offensively against me.
So for all of the FUDs who are claiming that this guy has pulled a gun on the man, he's not only just clearly stated that he hasn't, and the rationale for having the gun out of his holster in the first place.
Right.
And said it as nicely as you could possibly say it.
The fact that this officer did not once raise his voice at this joker is in itself a demonstration of great self-control. I don't know if I would have been as calm as this officer was dealing with this knucklehead.
No, exactly. The guy's not going to cooperate unless it's useful for him to, make sure his name gets on the video. But and he's trying his best to goad the officers into some sort of a response. And with all of this, I'm not complying. I don't submit to your searches, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to answer your questions. But then when the cops won't raise, get aggravated at him and they won't raise their voice at him, then he's left with nothing but to be polite to the police officers. So he's not even living up to his end of the bargain by screaming tyranny, resistance or whatever, or refuse to submit. But so I don't really understand at the end of this, because all right, we're only 3 minutes into a 13-minute video, but it doesn't get a whole lot more agitated than this. This is Officer Daggett's personality all the way through the interaction.
I would be just laughing my butt off if this ends up getting the guy promotion.
Yep, exactly. All right, so backup is arriving. Here we have Officers Evans.
Understand, I do not consent to any searches or seizures of my property.
Got to make sure that we say that again.
Taken care of. I'm going to remove this from you, sir.
Do you have any other firearms or weapons on you that we need to be concerned about?
I have one that's in a concealed weapon.
One at?
It's on my right side and inside the waistband holster.
Okay.
Okay. He has a concealed firearm inside the waistband on the right side and a outside the waistband firearm on his left side. So this is obviously not, I'm just innocently exercising my constitutional rights.
Right.
This is, I'm trying to be a dick.
I've already admitted that I don't have a permit, and not only am I carrying one, but 2 guns.
Right.
Double douchebaggery.
One for show, and one just so I can get the cops called on me so I can make a video.
Oh.
The other is my regular EDC.
I do not consent to any searches or seizures of my property. They are locked and cocked. Be careful.
FUD.
Mm-hmm.
They are locked and cocked. So he's carrying 2 1911s.
Oh. No, granted, to be fair, it could be, like a Beretta 92 or something like that, but
It's still just...
this is, yeah. I'm guessing 1911.
Right. He's my age, so it's probably 1911.
Do you have any other weapons that we need to be aware of?
I have 2 magazines in my left pocket. Other than that, there's no weapons.
Okay.
Left pocket, cargo pocket.
Yes, sir.
Any knives or anything that's gonna stick me?
Regular pocket.
Yeah. No other weapons except for that knife that he just asked me about.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to figure out if this guy is Looney Tunes. Is he up to no good? Is this just an overreaction by a citizen?
At this point, we're going to place you in handcuffs. You're detained pursuant to investigation. You're not under arrest, but this is for your safety and honor. Do you understand that?
I do understand.
Yeah,
Super polite.
Your wallet is in your cargo pocket,
My wallet, yes, sir.
and you said you had identification in that?
It's in this pocket here.
We appreciate your cooperation.
Understood.
What polite tyrants they are.
Where's your ID at in here?
Yes.
It should be in that front slip.
So much tyranny.
Up
So
there,
much
where your fingers
oppression.
are, tip of your fingers are.
Right here.
No, right there, where your thumb is. Yes.
Yeah, one disarmed to detain pursuant to that. Officer Evans, would you read him his constitutional rights before we proceed any further? He's already invoked, but I want him to be aware of what his constitutional rights are. And then he can make an informed decision. He probably already knows. But...
What's your name, sir?
He's got it right there. Jeffrey Marcus Gray.
Mr. Gray, I'm Officer Evans with the Ormond Beach Police Department. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used as evidence against you. You have the right to talk to an attorney. Have him or her with you now or at any time during questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. If at any time you wish to stop talking or have an attorney present, all questions will be stopped at your request. Do you understand these rights, sir?
I understand.
Thank you, sir. You care to tell me what's going on today while you're walking around with all these guns sticking out everywhere?
I'm fishing and I'm open carry.
Where is he fishing? He turns around to look at Officer Evans, and there's like a freeway. Oh, I'm just out fishing, officer. Why are you hassling me?
Practicing my casting in the local Publix parking lot.
That's...
Carry while fishing, which is perfectly legal in the state of Florida. And other than that, I'm not answering any other questions.
Why does he keep up this charade at this point? I'm not answering any questions. Well, yeah, you kind of
Guys,
are.
check out Florida Statute 790.25.
What statute?
790.25,
What does it say?
subsection H.
What does it
While
say?
hunting, fishing, camping, or traveling or to or from such an event, it is legal to open carry in the state of Florida.
We'll confirm that, and I think you're right. And,
I don't know that it's open carry, though. I know you can carry.
Yes.
I don't know that it's open carry, but
But
you're
we're going
correct.
to review the statute. But along with that, you're also concealed carrying a firearm,
Correct.
which
Is not covered by the statute.
Did you see my permit in my wallet.
No, because you didn't go through your wallet.
We haven't gone through. I asked you if you had a pistol permit, and you said you were not going to answer. If you have a pistol permit, then it's perfectly legal.
Right, you were referring to the open carry though.
No. I asked you if you had a pistol permit.
Not what he
In
said.
general.
I misunderstood your question.
Okay. And that's fine. We're here to conduct an investigation. If you have a pistol permit, you're coming to and from fishing, we'll verify all that. And if everything is all right, we'll return your firearms to you and let you be on your way.
The whole premise of this video just fell apart.
Yes.
Because he screwed up by insisting so early that he was not going to answer any questions. I'm not going to answer a question about a permit. Oh, wait a minute. I need to have a permit.
And he violated state law by not informing the officer that he had a permit when he was asked if he had one, because that's part of the statute.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your permit at?
It's in that wallet. Again, understand I'm not consenting to any searches.
Blah, blah,
or
blah, blah,
anything,
blah.
Where's your?
Shut up.
so behind the picture of my wife.
Which one? This one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but you're subject.
How does the officer know which picture is his wife? There's just so many obvious clues that this is staged. I mean, not on the police officer's part, but on his. He's just playing a part. This is all about him trying to get some clicks and making the rest of us look like dumbasses in the process. This is the sort of thing that got me riled up during the open carry debate here in Texas, where the open carry folks would make a scene like this and to try to make the point about open carry or something. And yeah, we got open carry, but then we got more of the 30-06 signs go up. And in addition to the new 30-07 signs, companies that didn't care before started thinking about people carrying guns, and they were just like, well, while we're at it, we'll put up a sign to stop you from concealed carrying too. I haven't seen a single. I take that back. I've seen one person open carrying it since the open carry passed in Texas, and all of this kind of nonsense that this guy's engaged in is the same sort of thing that they were doing here. And it didn't. Yeah, we got open carry, but we also got more restrictions on concealed carry.
To produce the permit upon demand, and I asked you if you had one, and you wouldn't even answer. Is that not correct?
I said I do not have an open carry permit.
I asked you if you had a pistol permit. I didn't ask about open.
Use your nightstick, officer. Take him in.
Go ahead. That's probably the right stuff. You would check it out.
Daggett is probably thinking in the back of his mind, this is all just, he probably knows that this is all just BS.
It's just
He's
a
got to
dog
know.
and pony show, yeah.
He's got a guy that went out with a camera on his freaking head, wandering around in a residential neighborhood, trying to get people riled up so that they would call the police so that he could make a video. They know the game's because you saw those people just walking by. So there's a park, whatever the name of that park is. So there's people walking around, and here he is with a big black fishing pole. Didn't look like it ever been used. And he's got a big gun on his hip, and he's doing it all for show.
And you do understand that we have the right, as police officers, detaining you to relieve you of your firearms until we conclude the stop.
I disagree with that. Like I said,
For
I'm
our safety.
not answering that.
Okay. Well, that's
Other than I disagree.
that's fine. I mean,
I'm not going to recognize your authority. All I can think of is Cartman.
I was just saying the same thing. Respect my authority.
it's America. You have the right to agree and disagree.
Right.
I love this cop. He's like, if you want to disagree, fine. I've got you in
I have my
cuffs.
business card and my ID number for you, sir.
Understood. Thank you.
If everything affirms out, as I said before, we'll go ahead and release you. If I might make a recommendation, I'm not asking you a question, I'm making a recommendation. Since you have a concealed weapons permit, in the future, again, I would say that you might want to, however many guns you carry is your business, not mine. But if no statutes were violated, I would say that common sense would dictate you might want to wear them all concealed.
Yes. And therein is the that's the lesson for all of us, right?
Mhm.
Don't just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should. But this guy put it to this jackass a lot more politely than I would have. And he's just like, just a little friendly advice.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I cannot confirm or deny that I would have been looking for an opportunity to tase or pepper spray the guy.
Right. Just so that you don't get, but being tased or beaten down is probably what this guy was looking for. I mean, imagine the
that's what
clicks
his
for
goal
that.
was. Yes.
Not saying you have to, if that's how the statute bears out. I would say that common sense so that you don't run into situations like this.
Common sense not being something that this guy has a lot of, I don't think.
I mean, I'm a firm believer of the ownership of firearms, the First Amendment right. Are the cuffs too tight on you?
Nah, they're fine. It's just my arm kind of cramped up.
Okay.
That's all.
Oh, the tyranny. Are the cuffs too tight?
Oh.
The Gestapo is worried about his cuffs.
The cuffs are fine. They're not tight or anything.
Okay. I'm a firm believer of the First Amendment.
Okay, just for the record, he says this a couple of times. He actually means the Second Amendment because he just said he supports your right to carry firearms, to own and carry firearms.
Right.
So he says the First Amendment a couple of times here, but he means the Second.
And I would try always never to do anything to cut into your rights on that. At this point, we're just, as I said, we're detaining you. If everything checks out, you'll be on your way.
I wonder if that's a school across the way. There was a school bus that just went by, which might explain why someone would call
if he's
the
walking
police
by a school
with a large black object and a gun on his hip.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I want to do Google Maps now and figure out where this is.
I've been trying to as we're discussing this.
Ooh.
Cannot guarantee I'll have any results, but now I'm going to look at schools in Ormond Beach.
Okay.
I myself wear my firearm off duty, and we're required by policy to have a jacket or something over it, but I would recommend the same for you because then you don't make other people in the area nervous. Statutorily that may not be a prerequisite, but common sense. Just to save yourself having the police officers call to check you out every single time.
And that's the thing. I don't understand why the open carry movement in this country seems to think that making people nervous is going to make them less nervous about guns.
I'm always tempted when I see some chucklehead open carrying in the Walmart just to go up to him and say, "Hey, you're not helping."
Yeah.
I mean, there's a part of me that's the sinner in me is tempted to show them just how easy it is for me to take their gun out of their Uncle Mike's holster when they're not expecting it.
Yes. And it seems like I saw a story about that, something like that the other day. A guy in a convenience store or a fast food place, and he was open carrying, and somebody pulled the gun out of his holster and shot him with it.
Ooh.
So it doesn't make any sense. And the argument that the going back to the Texas open carry chuckleheads was one of the arguments that they made in explaining why they did these events where they stood around. They were the ones who were going into restaurants and posing with guns.
Right.
And their explanation for this was that if people are used to seeing guns in public, then they won't be so sensitive about it, which is just dumb, because obviously that's not the case. If you're
that's the same thing that the people that are like all for the drag queen stuff. Oh, we just need to make this more visible in public, then people will become more comfortable with it. If you have to normalize something, then it means it's not normal to begin with. And this guy isn't trying to normalize a comfort level with the Second Amendment. It seems like he's trying to normalize stupidity.
The open carry movement is the drag queens of the gun world.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
Indeed it is.
All right.
I'll be back.
Okay, so now they've gotten the go ahead to take the handcuffs off.
Hey, Sergeant, if you would, can you return my firearm?
We're about to.
Can you just put it in my car for me? I don't want to have it in my hand or anything.
We would like to do it that way, too.
Okay.
My business card, sir?
Okay.
I love how he thinks he's telling them what to do when it's exactly what they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Will you give me my guns back? Like they were going to take them. Like they want your 1911s. Come on.
As soon as you reclaim your property, and then we'll escort you over with your firearms to your vehicle. Okay. We appreciate your cooperation.
Yes, sir. Can I put that in my pocket?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Thank you.
Sergeant Daggett deserves a raise, a promotion, something. If he deals with other people, other situations like this as politely and calmly as he does, then he is just absolutely awesome.
Yes.
We need more Officer Daggetts.
Yes.
He didn't take offense to any of this stuff. Now, in fairness, we have seen officers who get a little ticked. If we think about the officers in the case of that guy who was beaten to death, who all seemed to take offense at the guy, running his mouth at them or not answering the way they expected. This guy is being treated disrespectfully in a kind of, it's a sly way of doing it. It's not directly telling him you're a tyrant. It's like, I don't consent to any of this. Right. I don't consent. I'm not going to answer any questions. And the officer is just cool and calm as he can possibly be. We need more of this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's watching that video. This guy, he's trying to ruin this cop's life.
Yeah. And you'll see that at the very end where he has collected these guys. He's got their cards. He posts those and with a still shot of their face with their contact information at the end of the video.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's trying to ruin their careers over nothing. I'm perpetually amused by these people who, whenever there is an incident involving a black suspect, we back the blue. Right?
Right.
But when this happens, and this isn't even an incident, and you saw the comments that were posted on this video, were almost entirely about how these cops were Nazis and tyrants and needed to lose their jobs. I am perpetually amused by that dichotomy of, okay, we back the blue in this case, we don't back the blue in this case. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and they've twisted the Second Amendment. I mean, yes, I wish we had constitutional carry in all 50 states, but we don't. The only way that you're really helpful in forwarding our Second Amendment rights is by not being an a-hole.
Yes. Yes.
You just have to show that gun owners are normal, everyday people who respect the law, who respect law enforcement, who aren't trying to shove this in your face because you disagree with their political persuasions.
And we need the support. I mean, we need the support of police officers. We need the support of police departments and police chiefs, because they're the ones ultimately who are going to end up, if gun control gets passed, We want them to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to enforce that. We see that across the country. We don't want to be doing this stuff to the cops.
No.
If we need their support when push comes to shove, if there is, God forbid, if Biden gets his way and were to ever somehow get an assault weapons ban, these are the kinds of guys who are going to be, on the front line of having to confiscate firearms. And we want them to say no. We don't want them to think of us like this guy that they're having to deal with.
Right. Well, and there's bad apples in every profession.
Yes.
I know of pastors who are no longer pastors because they got caught up in some nefarious, illegal stuff.
Right.
This is one of the good guys. He's just doing his job. He's responding to a 911 call because somebody called in about a guy walking around with a gun who looked suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And he is calm and collected. He not once does anything that even hints of trying to abuse his authority.
Nope.
And yet this chucklehead is essentially trying to ruin this guy's reputation.
Yeah. This is pretty unconscionable in my opinion, especially when it's this up to this point is bad enough, but when you see the very end, it's infuriating because we're only a couple minutes away. So they're going to let him pick.
People aren't used to people walking around with guns like that, like the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to call too, just so you know.
Especially not at a fishing pier like this. Now, if it was out in the middle of the woods, that's one thing. You're talking about you're in a residential area. Right. It's not like you have any bears.
Who's got them secured?
I love that. Okay, so now two points that we didn't know before. He did say at a fishing pier like this. So it sounds to me like there is a nearby pier, but it also happens to be in a residential area.
Right.
And I love the guy's point. It's not like it's not like there's a bear going to jump out of the woods and steal your fish. I love it. So now they're going to let him pick up his stuff and they're going to escort him and his guns back to his car.
It's not like you're going to have to worry about bears trying to steal your fish or nothing.
There it is. I'm surprised at this point, as this is kind of embarrassing for Mr. Gray at this point, because he's tried to provoke an incident and the cops are supremely kind to him. They've pointed out that he lied to them. They've now chastised him about and given him common sense advice that you would think pretty much anybody would know, but he has to be told. And then they get the thing about the bear.
Yes.
I can't believe he posted this video.
Well, that's the thing. What level of self-unawareness must you have that you go and post a video that clearly shows that you're the idiot?
And tries to say, cop pulls his gun on man who was carrying his guns to his car after a fishing trip. And this is manifestly untrue. And it stays on the video the whole time, even though it's a complete lie.
Fishing trip usually means that you're going somewhere away from urban areas.
Yes. Going fishing is one thing. Going on a fishing trip is completely different.
Yes.
And pulling your gun on somebody is completely different than what happened here. And the guy explained to him why he had his gun out of his holster and that he wasn't pointing it at him and why he had it out of his holster. So again, the lack of self-awareness is quite amazing that he's still got this on the screen. He should have taken that down a long time ago. All right, so we get to the end. There's really
right in the chamber, sir.
We treat all weapons as if they're loaded.
Okay. Just right over here.
So we're just going to march to the car. I'm going to fast forward through this.
Here's the 2 clips.
The cop does say clips.
2 clips.
Clips.
Nothing's been uncased or tampered with.
Understood. Okay. Have a good one.
You have a better day, sir.
Thank you.
Now he's got the withhold consent sticker. Let's see if I can freeze it on his. This is one of the things I tried to do, was to freeze it on the back of his cars. So he has a Ron Paul sticker, a withhold consent sticker. There's a Gadsden flag on the other side. I don't know what this thing is.
It looks like a sheriff's star, so maybe it's like support the local sheriffs or whatever.
Support law enforcement. Unless you can get a hate video put together.
Right.
And then he does this. And he posts their contact information and their photos on the video so that you can... Oh, stop. Yeah, I got my 45. So yeah, it's a 1911.
This could be an advertisement for birth control.
This is Florida Man. I mean, we've done a bunch of episodes about Florida Man, and they're usually, just
naked in a chicken coop.
Naked in a chicken.
We couldn't do a video episode about that one.
No, that'll get demonetized quickly. But this guy is supposedly on our side. This guy is one of us, supposedly. But he's an embarrassment to the Second Amendment movement, to the pro-gun movement, because that especially at the end, is unconscionable. That he basically doxed those cops for doing their job and tried to portray them as Nazis.
Right.
This isn't helping, like you said. I mean, we need people. Especially need law enforcement on our side. We need people out fighting for our rights. Yes. But we don't need this. This hurts because this makes us all look like idiots.
I found the spot, by the way.
Ooh.
And it is right next to an elementary school.
Yep. That's why they called.
I'm gonna take a screenshot and show it to
I think you might be able to can you present?
Oh, sure.
Are you able to do that?
I believe I am.
I've never asked a guest to present anything.
Present.
Ooh.
Share screen. Share screen. Select a window. Let's just go to.
So yeah, we're breaking new ground here, folks. We're doing things that have never been done on Armed Lutheran Radio before.
Well, this says StreamYard, so I'm gonna see how this works. If I can switch to a different tab, can you see that on yours?
There we go. So
right. So he was picked up right here. There's the library. There's an elementary school. If you go into the street view.
So there is a pier there.
Yeah, there's a pier there.
There's
that building that we saw. Yep. And this over here is the city hall. We said city hall. I should have just done a search for city hall just out of curiosity.
He's right across from City Hall.
Right across from City Hall, which I don't know how it works in Ormond Beach, but around here the police station is right next to City Hall. Awesome. So, but yeah, here's the elementary school. There's the library. He's picked up right there.
Genius.
Yeah. Jeffrey Marcus Gray, you are an idiot.
Yeah. You're not helping. Please stop. Take the Ron Paul and the refuse consent stickers off your car because they're making you stupid. Use your brain. It's not this. God.
Chances are those officers all told each other, if you ever pull over this vehicle, cut him no slack because he's an idiot. So he might want to take those bumper stickers off.
Yeah. Now that they know what his car looks like. But so this is not just some random incident, some random example of the man holding people down. This is our side actively looking to entrap police officers and dox them for doing their jobs, all to get clicks.
Yes.
So if you run across videos like this, please do like Pastor Bennett did and call them out in the comments of those videos, because we really don't need more Jeffrey Marcus Grays out there in the world. Is that his name?
Yeah. Yep.
Jeffrey Gray. We don't need more of Mr. Gray out in the world making problems for us. We've got enough with the open carry, the official open carry movements. We don't need more of it. Just make it stop. Just go lobby your Congress people. Get it done through the legislature. Don't go and do this kind of stuff, because this makes the rest of us look bad, and it makes it less likely that that kind of legislation, open carry legislation, pro-gun legislation, would pass, because people are going to see that and they're going to think, well, that's what we're about to allow. We're going to let chuckleheads like this guy wander around with guns.
Now, on the one hand, there may be, I'm sure there are, now I'm sure there's places in Montana and Wyoming, Idaho, Arizona, where it is part of the culture for people to open carry. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But when you live in an area where you are doing it, and so often it seems like they're doing it to try and make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Then you're just being an ass.
That was the whole point, was wander around in this park and hope that somebody sees me and calls the police so that I can film it.
Right.
So he was on a fishing trip, all right, but it just wasn't for fish. All right. All right. That's enough of that. I need a drink. Thank you, Pastor, for suggesting this. It was good. It was fun.
This was fun. Yeah. And and hopefully everybody starts listening to the audio. If you listen to the audio typically, and go watch the video.
Oh yeah, definitely. We said we wanted to do more of these video shows and some live shows as well, and so I like doing this. I like this format, and we'll do another one before the end of the month and dig into. I started collecting some videos of anti-gun sermons and stuff again that are more recent. So I thought we would delve into some of those as well.
Excellent.
All right, folks, if you have any comments or any questions about anything you heard here today, please visit our feedback page at armedlutheran.us/feedback. If your Jimmy's got rustled and you don't like what we said, we welcome those comments too. You're wrong, but we'll entertain your comments nonetheless. We would enjoy hearing from you, as long as you're respectful. And if you're not, then you'll be the subject of a future episode where we make you look like Mr. Gray.
Yes, but hey, we're always looking for fresh material. So
absolutely right. All right, Pastor, thanks again, folks. We'll talk to you next week. Keep shooting, keep praying. Talk to you next time.